detox that we do, there's a lot of discussion about what nutrition is, and we don't often talk about why it's important. You've all heard the phrase, six packs are made in the kitchen, and things like that. And we talk about nutrition being an important factor. And in some cases, we've even said and talked to some of you individually or even in groups that nutrition is kind of the foundation for everything. The idea behind the importance of nutrition is literally you cannot function if you don't have the right fuels in your body. And that's the biggest piece of what we talk about with health and fitness. You can work out, you can meditate, you can do all the different things as far as the three pillars of health, which are mental health, physical health, and then nutritional health, well-being. But if you're putting crap into your body, if you're not eating things as naturally as possible, then you're basically poisoning yourself and you're preventing your body from working at its fullest potential. So you are spending all of this time and money exercising. You're spending all this time and money doing all these things that you want to do to try to improve your health, but then you're not eating right and you're literally stopping yourself from seeing progress that you could see from all the other activities you're doing. You're doing this. You're butting against your own head. All right? So when we talk about nutrition and why it's important, there are three main things that we're going to talk about. One is something called metabolic pathways. Sorry, I got some kind of frog in my throat. Metabolic pathways. Metabolic pathways are the ways that our body uses fuel. Okay? There are two main ones we're going to talk about. All right? They are oxidative. I'm using big words here. Oxidative and glycolytic. Okay? Glycolytic. I just figured if there's a Y or if that's a Y or I. Glycolytic pathways. Basically, this is fat burning. And this is sugar burning. Okay? Our body can do both. Our body can burn sugars. Our body can burn fat. Our body is more efficient at burning fat than it is sugars. But sugars, for most of us, are more abundant in supply as far as what we're eating in our day-to-day diet. Without getting too much into these, the biggest things that you need to know about how our body burns fat and how our body burns sugar is that we can train our systems to do one of two things: store fuel or use fuel. You can store it or you can use it. Okay? What you eat, how much you eat, when you eat, all of those types of things can go into what your body does. If you are eating too much food, if you're eating too much sugar, your body's going to turn that into fat. If you're eating too much fat, your body's going to keep that in fat and keep it on your body. There are plenty of things that you can do to improve how your body uses the energy that you're eating. The number one thing is make sure not to eat too much, okay? So when it comes to your diet and nutrition, a lot of it, a big part of it is how much are you eating and when are you eating? Keeping your macros are fat, sugar, and then protein is your third one, okay? If you notice, your macronutrients tied directly into how your body burns fuel. If you're eating too much, you're going to store fuel. The more you do that, the more your body wants to store. Okay, it's like you're repetitively doing something and your body just gets used to doing it, so that's what it wants to do naturally. All right, so something to keep in mind when we talk about metabolic pathways, what our body does with the fuel that we put into it, you can make it more prone to storing it or more prone to using it. Okay, using it obviously is where we want to be. All right, so that's one thing that we're going to talk about. The other thing that we talk about is recovery. You know what? We're not going to talk about recovery. We'll talk about performance first. Recovery is the last one. Performance. Okay? How does nutrition help with performance? One, the more we train our bodies to use the fuel that we have, the more fuel that we have available to use when we do exercise. Not just the more we have available, the more we can use, but the more efficiently our body is able to do it. If we consistently are training our body to use the fuels that we have, then it gets better at using the fuel. Okay, it's like, am I going to put 93 octane in my 72 Ford Pinto, or am I going to train my body to be efficient and put that in a Ferrari, right? Or whatever uses high octane fuel. When it comes to performance, when we eat crap, when we eat foods that are not whole, that are not natural, come in boxes, are processed, have tons of things in them that we can't pronounce, and just are as far away from what we could have picked from the ground or gotten or killed ourselves, then what happens is we get this thing called inflammation. Okay? What is inflammation? The simplest way I can explain inflammation is the reaction of our bodies to stress. Okay? The more processed food, the more types of foods that we eat that our body has to do extra work. Okay? Keep that in mind, extra work. Extra work. The more stuff that our body has to do extra work to get the nutrients out of the food, the less energy, the less time, and the less fuel we have left over to do the things that we're trying to do in our activities, okay? So if our body's spending all of its time dealing with the crap that we're putting in our mouths, it has less ability and less energy to use to do the performance and to do the things that we want to do on the floor. So if you're eating crap, you come for a workout, your body's like, I'm trying to get all this fuel, I'm trying to do this, right? But I can't get the things out of the food that I'm eating because the food that I'm eating is all chemicals and not stuff that I can really use. So I have to do extra work to make my body function. I'm not as able to do the things on the floor as I would be if I was eating more natural, more healthy, and more nutrient-dense foods. Okay? So that's the second thing. The last thing we're going to talk about is recovery. Okay? Recovery, very similar in the performance aspect as far as how inflammation affects your recovery, but it's also thinking about what does our body need to recover. Okay, we need the right materials and we need the right amount of materials. Okay, so not only do we not want to have extra work being done just to get the materials, get the nutrients that we need, right? Because we need the nutrients to recover, right? We need all the building blocks, the proteins, we need the fats, right? All of those things that can help our body rebuild after we've done something physical, all right? So if we're eating crap and we try to do something physical, we exercise, we work really hard, we're tearing our body down when we do that. Every time that you work out, you are tearing your body down. You're adding stress to your system, and then your body has to build it back up. There's a process called supercompensation that allows the body to work here, you add stress, and then everything goes down, right? After you give it some time to recover, it comes back up, but then it comes back up higher than it was before, all right? You can't have this return. You can't have that supercompensation and that return to normal and then increase of performance unless you have the right materials and the right amounts of things, nutrients, macronutrients, micronutrients, and all those things in your body in order for that to happen. Okay? So this was probably a little longer than I intended, but metabolic pathways. If you eat too much, if you're not eating the right things and your body is saying, hey, I want to store instead of use, that's going to be a problem with your performance. You're not going to see as much progress. Train your body to use what you eat. It can only use what it's eating if it's not having to spend so much time and extra energy to break it down and turn it into something useful. The closer you can get to eating foods that are immediately useful to your body, the better all of this is going to happen. And then as far as recovery, the same thing goes. If you're eating the right amounts and the right things, your body will recover faster. You won't feel as sore. You'll be able to do more work more frequently. And that in and of itself is going to increase the amount of overall volume that you get so that you see progress faster in the gym. Okay? So 3 things to keep in mind. Nutrition is the foundation. If this stuff isn't right, then all the other things you're doing is not necessarily a waste of time, but you really are seriously holding yourself back. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope that it's giving you some information and tools that will help you live a better quality of life. For more videos and to get notified when new things come out, subscribe to this channel and you'll get all the information as soon as it hits. If you want to follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you can find me at the Apex Training System. Or if you're interested in our programs and what we can do to help you with it, whether it's one-on-one coaching or whether it's in a group online program, go to theapextrainingsystem.com and get all the information about what we do. Look forward to talking to you. Have a great day.